Okay, testing 1 2 3. I finally got the stream working. All right, sorry for the delay. I hope that you guys are still here. All right, if not, don't worry. This webinar will be recorded. All right, so yes, let's dive straight into it. Okay, so sorry for the delay. All right, so hey guys, welcome back to another webinar brought to you by IC Markets. We will go through the pre-market live analysis yet again. All right, so before I begin the webinar, remember that everything in this webinar is educational in nature and nothing should be construed as investment or trading advice. Alright, so please remember to do your own due diligence, alright, before you guys trade. Okay, so the agenda for today, as usual, we will go through the high impact news events for the week ahead and also key technical setups to watch out for. Okay, so I'm your host for today. My name is Boon Hong, and I'll be going through today's pre-market live analysis with you guys. All right. Okay, moving on to the key news events for the week ahead. Okay, so for Monday itself, we'll go through all. We will be having all the Euro, GBP as well as USD French flash manufacturing PMI. All right, so for this news, right, usually it wouldn't really affect the markets that much, right? It wouldn't be as volatile as other news compared to CPI, GDP, or other news, right? Even though it is a high impact news, all right, so you wouldn't have to worry about this news that much. All right, you can still catch on the markets, right, and to catch the volatility for these pairs, right, for Euro pairs, GBP pairs, as well as USD pairs. Okay, and for Tuesday we have GBP Governor Bailey speaking. All right, so and all these timing are in Singapore time, right? So I believe this is midnight for us, right? So it might still be on Monday midnight, right? I believe this timing nobody will really be trading in markets, but you will have to be careful for GBP pairs, right? If you are holding for your GBP trades like GBP USD or GBP JPY. Okay, and for Wednesday we have AUD GBP, right? For AUD, we have AUD CPI, right? So it will be very important for pairs like AUD USD, okay? And for GBP, we have GBP CPI, okay? So for this week ahead, you can see that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have GBP news. All right, so we can see a lot of volatility and movement from GBP pairs itself. Okay, and for Thursday, we have USD unemployment claims. All right, so we are heading to the later part of the week, right? And usually the later part of the week we will see movement, right? Because we will have the final GDP as well as USD unemployment claims. Okay, so pairs like Euro dollar, Pound dollar, uh, USD JPY, as well as gold will have a lot of movement. Okay, and for Friday we have GBP retail sales as well as CAD GDP and USD core PCE price index. Okay, so it's quite an interesting week if I were to say. Okay, so let's just hop on to the charts right now and let's see what are the potential setups for the week. All right. Oh yeah, sorry, because I was trying to get the stream working, and that's why there was such a delay over there. Yeah, but don't worry, I will make up with the time. Yeah, sorry Watson. Yeah, because the stream was having some issues and I was trying to get it fixed. Yes, but don't worry, I'll go through the charts and make sure that you guys will be able to catch on, yeah? Okay, let me put the chat right here so that I can see it. Yeah. Okay, let me put the chat right here. Yep, so as usual, you guys can just type in any pairs that you guys want me to go through with you, right? For example, you want me to go through USD CAD, GBP CHF, any minors or any major pairs, right? Just type it in the chat box below and I will look through them. Okay, no worries. All right, let's start off with DXY. Okay, we can see that DXY has already, oh wait, yeah. Okay, so previously DXY has already shifted from this pivot point over here, right? So the next pivot point that I'm actually looking at, right, is this level, right? So this will actually be my pivot point, right? Then this will become my support, right? Then we will take this out, we will take this out, right? Then this will be my resistance, right? Okay, so this is the um, setup for DXY, right? We have the we can take this out as well. Okay, very simple setup. All right, because from here we can see that if I were to draw a, let me see if I can find nope, we can't use the projection. Okay, so what we are looking at is that we are expecting price for the US dollar index, right, to go higher towards this pivot point, all right, and then for this, for price to drop down from this level, right? Because if you zoom in closer, we can see that there is already a closure above this high, right? And a closure above this high, meaning that price could potentially go even higher towards this pivot point. Okay, that is the outlook for DXY. Actually, it's pretty simple. If you look at the um, DXY chart, right, you can see that price could potentially do a correction towards the upside towards this pivot point at the 50% feeble retracement level. Okay, makes sense? All right, so yes, so what we are looking at will be for DXY to fall from this pivot point to go even lower from here, right? Because if you look at DXY, there are a lot of opportunities whereby this is your extreme, these are your daily fair value gaps. If you look at this carefully, right, you can see these are your daily fair value gaps. Okay, so there is a lot of potential for price to actually come in and fill these gaps, right? This level or even this level. Okay, so that is the reason why I believe that price would potentially come up to this level before going down. Alright. Okay, then the next thing that we will look at is euro dollar. Okay, so it only makes sense if, let's say, DXY, we are expecting a push down from this area, right? Meaning that euro dollar will be a push up from this level. And this level is an extremely good pivot point because price has actually reacted to it multiple times. You can see how price has reacted to it multiple times, acting as a overlap support level. Okay, so we are expecting a push up from this area. And also, if you look at market structure, right, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. What's next? Price could come down and create a higher low to create a higher high, right? These are all just very basic market structure. All right, and it only makes sense for the euro dollar to drop down, right? Because it has finally reacted to this resistance area, this key resistance level, all right, and come down to react to this daily fair value gap. All right, because you see how price will always come down to be attracted to these imbalances. These are your imbalances, right? You can see these two areas are your fair value gaps, right? If you guys understand fair value gaps, these are your imbalances. These two level, right? Okay, so these are where price is attracted to these areas, all right, as well as the 50% feeble retracement level, right? That's why this level is pretty strong, right? We have a strong overlap with support level as well as the 50% feeble retracement level, right? And following market structure, price would most likely go up from here onwards if price comes down. All right, so far so good, right? We've gone through one pair already. All right, then the next thing is GBP USD. All right, so for GBP USD, it follows euro dollar most of the time, right? You can see how it works. Okay, so our bias is the same. Once price comes to this area, we will look for buys. All right, and it aligns very nicely with the 23.6% feeble retracement level. All right, so following market structure as well, highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. What's next? Higher low. Same thing to create a higher high. All right, so this is the same exact outlook that we'll have for price to bounce off this pivot point to go even higher to take out this high. Okay, makes sense. All right, next thing we will look at is USD JPY. All right, so for USD JPY, what we are looking at is the pivot point for price to come up to this pivot point to fall afterwards, right, towards this support level. Right, if you take a look at the higher time frame feeble retracement level, right, we have the 38.2% feeble retracement level for price to react to at this resistance point, which is our pivot area. All right, and then if you go to H4 we can see another feeble retracement level, right, which is drawn from this swing high to this swing low, and it aligns with the 61.8% feeble retracement level. All right, so these two Fibo retracement levels gives you extra Fibo confluence. All right, so that's why, yeah, and following DXY, USD JPY will go in the same way, in the same direction as DXY, right? So if DXY actually goes down, then USD JPY will go down as well. All right, and one tip, right? If you realize, right, this level, right? Focus on my mouse for a bit, right? This level, right, is a key level for USD JPY because of this specific candlestick, right? If you focus on these two candles, this green candle and this white candle, this white candle is a bearish engulfing candle, right, followed by two consecutive bearish candles, right? So one very good tip is that we are on the daily time frame, right? We have this bearish engulfing candle followed by two bearish candles, right? This means usually I will just take this high, right, this body of the candle, right, and I'll mark out this level. So this level will be a very good sell opportunity for USD JPY. All right, and this is done by multiple back testing, right? If I were to show you guys, let me show you guys an example just to sidetrack a little bit. Let me show you guys an example. Yeah, it's quite rare sometimes. Yeah, let me see. So let's say right here. Box. Oh, let me change this color. Let me change it red. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll mark out. I'll usually mark out this level. All right. So you can see, right, bullish candle, followed by bearish engulfing candle, followed by two bearish candles. All right. Then I'll mark out this level, right, from the body of the candle. Okay. So usually what I'll do is I'll do a short position. All right, stop loss above this high. Yeah, then my TP, I'll put it at the low of the area. But you can see how price actually, this is not to cherry pick the trades, but I would like to show you guys sometimes that it doesn't work as well, right? You can see how it goes in the profit for a while, right? I would say 1:2, right? Some people would target 1:2 or even 1:1, right? But for me, I'll just target the lows right here to target a 1:3.5. Yeah, it only makes sense to target these lows right here, but you can see how price actually goes back up. It's either hitting your break even or hitting your stop loss, right? But usually for those that go for 1:2, right, what I'll suggest is once your trade goes 1:2, shift your stop loss to break even. All right, this is to ensure that you are protected and ensure that you are yeah, protected from price reversing against you. Yeah, that's the most important thing that you have to take note of. Okay, let's see so far. Yeah, okay, so far any questions? Let me just go back to the trade itself. Yeah, USD JPY, we are looking for sells. Okay, next thing, USD CHF. Oh, yeah. Okay, USD CHF, same thing. What we are actually looking at is sales, right? So everything actually lines up very nicely, right, for the week ahead. Okay, so especially for all these major pairs that we are looking at. So for USD CHF, what we want to see essentially, right, price has actually not broken past these highs yet. AUD and BTC, okay, sure, we'll get, yeah, we will do AUD in a bit, then we'll do BTC, right? Also Watson, if any pairs that you have, just send me and I'll take a look at it as well. All right, AUD and BTC, yep, sure, we'll do it after this. Okay, so for AUD CHF, right, we need price to break past this high, then we will ensure that liquidity has been taken, right? And the next level that we'll look at is this pivot point, right? And this lines up very nicely with the 38.2% Fibo retracement level. All right, so we are targeting, and based off market structure, right, lower low, oh, wrong tool, okay, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay, based off market structure, right, we are in a bearish trend right now. All right, so what we want to do is we want to see price taking out this high. Okay, means that liquidity has been swept. All right, and then reacting to this 38.2% Fibo retracement level, as well as a overlap resistance level, which is our pivot point. Okay, so this is a pretty simple trade, I would say. Okay, so let's go to AUD USD. Okay, for AUD USD, very simple, right? What we want to do is we are looking for bites for AUD USD. Okay, so far I think AUD USD is struggling to get rid of, to get out of this area, right? We want to see a potential break above this area. That's the positive outlook of AUD USD, right? And I believe on Wednesday, right, we will definitely see movements, right, because we have AUD CPI. Okay, so we are on the daily chart for AUD USD, and usually for AUD USD to move significantly, what we want to see is news, right? Your price is driven by CPI news or GDP. All right, so we can possibly see a push, sorry, a drop from a drop from AUD USD, a slight drop, right, reacting to our pivot point, which is also at the 100% Fibo projection level. All right, this is our projection level. Okay, and we are not able to draw a Fibo retracement level because this is the swing low already, right? But based off the 100% Fibo projection level, as well as market structure, right, this level is a good level for AUD USD trade, right? And then if you were to, let's say you were to do a swing trade, right, what you want to do is to target, let's say here, and then what you want to do is target this high, right? Or if you don't want to put your stop loss this low, right, the reason why I put it this low is I'll put it below the 161.8% Fibo extension level, as well as the this extreme swing low over here, right? But if not, you can also put it, let's say 127.2 and 161. Yeah, you also can put it below this 127.2% Fibo extension level, right? And target these swing highs over here. These swing highs will definitely be taken out sooner or later, right? These equal highs, right? So yes, to put this to put this stop loss below this 127.2% extension level is to get a better risk to reward ratio, right? From 1 to 1.5, about 1 to 1.5, you are getting a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. All right. Okay. So this, sometimes you can just adjust your stop loss based off your own risk appetite, as well as to get a better risk to reward ratio. Is always up to your own discretion, right? Whether you feel like swing trading, or whether you feel like holding your trade, right? It's all up to you, right? But what I can suggest is to put your stop loss below this level over here. All right. Okay, then the next thing that we want to look at is BTC USD. Okay, so for BTC USD, let me see. Yeah. Okay, so far, BTC USD is looking bearish. Why bearish? Right? If I were to clear this chart, okay, if I were to clear this chart, right, what we are looking at is essentially this. Right, this is the market structure of BTC USD. But of course, we all know that BTC USD wouldn't really follow proper market structure, right? So let's analyze. BTC USD usually will follow patterns as well as trend lines. Okay, so if I were to mark out these levels, let's see, where is my, okay, if I were to mark out these levels, right, BTC USD is currently in a, this should be bullish channel, right? It's in a bullish channel. But once price usually breaks past, like consolidate in this bearish bullish channel, and it will usually do this. Why? Because pre-bullish channel, right, what we have is a bearish movement, right? So bearish movement, right? And then we have this bullish consolidation. Price will tend to come down and create this other bearish continuation. Okay, that's if you realize for BTC USD. All right, but let's take a look at the possible pivot points, right? There are a few levels that actually I'm looking at. One is 93k, which is this level, right? Very possible, very possible, right? But of course, this will take a while for BTC USD to reach, right? If not, this level, pivot point, right? The end of this channel for it to come down, right? Because of this bearish engulfing candle. All right, then for the support, right, the support, what I'm looking at is this. For support, okay, this is fine, but let me see how it looks like on H4. Okay, yeah, I think this is fine. All right, then we will look at this. We will look at this for our resistance point. Okay, so this only makes sense, right? You can actually take this pivot, right? But this pivot point, I would say, wouldn't actually be that reliable, right? Because you can easily just do something like this, right? Break into your pivot point, right? And go higher and come back into your pivot point, right? So what we want to see is this. Yep. Actually, from this level, I would like to put upside confirmation, but let's see. Okay, we can actually do this pivot point, right? Then what we want to see, let's see, price is coming down 61.8, 61.8. Wow, I don't really like the structure of BTC USD right now. H4 looks amazing, right? H4 actually looks absolutely amazing, right? But let's see. So let's take out this channel and let's use a fib. $61.8. Yeah, this level is such a nice level to look at. Yeah, let's use this level instead. Resistance area. Okay, this will be our pivot point. Alright, then we will look for sells at this level. I think it makes much more sense, right? If I were to draw a fit, yeah, let me just put a bearish arrow. Okay, yeah, I think for now BTC's direction is really quite unclear, right? Because we are looking for price to actually break past this ascending trend line, right? Ascending channel. This is what is essentially this is what we are looking at, right? Okay, yeah. So any other pairs that you guys want to see? If not, we can definitely still go through the other majors, right? I think there is USD CAD. USD CAD don't really look that nice. Let's see. It's becoming bearish. What we are looking at is bullish. Wow, USD CAD is okay. Believe this is a nicer trade. Pivot point. Alright, then this will be our pivot point due to a overlap support level. Okay, then this will be our, oh, this is nice. Yeah, okay, I think this is fine. This is our support level, our first support, and then for our resistance we'll mark this out as our resistance level. Okay, so I think this is a good opportunity for buys because we will have a correction, right? This is what we are looking at, right? Price will tend to consolidate around this area, and then what we want to see is a break. Okay, because price right now, right, for myself I don't really use trend lines, but sometimes, right, because trend lines are quite subjective, right? So I don't really use it. But sometimes when it is quite clear, right, that what we are looking at, what we need is that this is a bearish, this is a descending trend line, all right? So what we want is for price to continue to consolidate slowly, right, and then expand. This is the expansion that we want. Okay, this is what we are looking at for USD CAD. Okay, let's see. Fit. We have already used the fit, so we can't use it. Let me see. Pretty sure it's at 78.6. Yeah. Okay, this is our Fibo. Let's see H4. H4. Yeah, H4 makes sense. H4 makes sense to actually use the Fibo projection. Okay, so I think it's fine. Then what we want to see is a push upwards. So we'll put this as our bearish arrow. Alright. I think it's pretty straightforward for USD CAD. Okay. We've gone through AUD/USD. Okay, now let's go through NZD/USD. Okay, so for NZD/USD, all right, what we are looking at, okay, AUD/USD, what we are looking at is buys, right? So if you guys trade AUD/USD and NZD/USD enough, right, you'll realize that these two pairs usually go hand in hand together, right? They usually move in the same way, in the same direction. All right, so what we want to see is for price, NZD/USD has a clearer direction, right? We are actually gaining bullish momentum. All right, so what we want to see is for price to actually react to this support level over here, right? This is a nice demand zone for a pivot point, right? And it also aligns very nicely with the 50% Fibo retracement level. All right, let's see if there is a, yeah, and it also aligns very nicely with the 61.8% Fibo projection. All right, so this level is a pretty good opportunity for NZD/USD, right? I think for NZD/USD, right, is a underrated pair, right? Sometimes not a lot of people will trade NZD/USD, right? Most people trade AUD/USD, right? But people tend to overlook NZD/USD sometimes, right? But I believe that when you have a good opportunity like this, right, where we have 50% Fibo retracement level as well as 61.8% projection level, right, this is a good area for Fibo confluence. All right, so this is a good opportunity for buys. Okay, we've covered all the majors. Okay, let's take a look at gold. All right, so gold, there is a good level for a buy opportunity, right? I believe that this should be, oops, yep. Okay, so far, right, what we want to see, okay, this level is actually a good level for buys, right? We can see how price, this is a bullish engulfing candle, right? And we have marked out this level, but price has already reacted from this area. So where is the next area that we can look at, right? The next area that we can look at is this 50% retracement level as well as the 100% projection level, right? And we also have a daily fair value gap here, which will attract price to come to this level, right? And then to go higher from here. Okay, so this pivot point has enough Fibo confluence together, right? These two Fibo levels, right? And then we are following the bullish trend. All right, so everything lines up. What we want to see, we have DXY confluence, right? Going the opposite direction compared to DXY. That's one off, right? Then we also have Fibo retracement, as well as Fibo projection, as well as daily fair value gap. And the last thing is market structure. Okay, so once everything lines up very nicely, right, we will have better confidence to enter the trade. All right, so this is just based off personal experience. Okay, so this will be a pretty solid trade for gold, I would say, but it will take a while for price to actually come to this level. All right, definitely on H4 you can find sell opportunities, right? Like right here, I would say is a good sell opportunity. We have a break of this lows over here, right? So I would say if you guys really want to take a short position, short around this level, stops placed above this high, this previous high, okay, and then you are targeting this level over here. This is I would say this could be done within 1 or 2 days, okay, if you guys really want to short the markets, right? And then you are targeting this level. You see this area, if you go to H4, right, this is a very nice opportunity for buys, right? You are essentially buying, here, right? And then you can potentially hedge the market by selling over here. Okay, even though price has not tapped 3027 yet, right? But it will soon tap 3027, right? Then you can short the markets, right? So this is a good opportunity as well. I would say this is quite a risky trade in a sense because you are going in the opposite direction of the overall trend, right? But you can see on H4, this could be a good opportunity for another buy level over here, right? You are selling, okay, towards this pivot point. Might be a good opportunity for sales actually, I would say. Okay, so go back to daily. All right. Okay, so let's cover. Oh yes, I have to cover oil because oil is a good opportunity for a sell, right? Because you can see right here, if I were to draw the fib from this high to this low, right, we have a very nice, I would say it's a pretty nice solid level as a resistance point for our pivot area. All right, and it also aligns very nicely with the 38.2%. Can't really see it. Yeah, 38.2% Fibo retracement level, right? And then the next level will be the first resistance above it, all right, which aligns with the 50% Fibo retracement level. So I would say if you were to take a sell, right, the risk to reward ratio is pretty decent. Okay, if let's say you were to take a sell position here, your stop loss pays above this high, your target is this low. Pretty nice. We will get a 1:2 risk to reward. All right, and we are following the overall structure. I believe is the overall weekly structure of oil, right? We are following the bearish structure of oil. Okay, so bearish structure on the weekly. All right, then on the daily we are trading off this rejection. Okay, but I believe there will be upcoming oil news soon. Yep, so you will have to take note of that. I think in April, yeah, early April or late March. Okay, so please take note of that. Right, so far, oil is moving slowly. You can see how it's actually um, slowly moving up towards this area. So I believe in the next few days, it will actually reach this pivot point. All right. Okay, gone through these two commodities. All right, let's go through some indices and then we'll call it a day. All right, US 30. Right, so far, oh, US 30 is reacting to our level right here. Okay, US 30 is reacting to our level. Right, is approaching our pivot point soon. All right, so what I would say this level, yeah, this level is fine. Okay, so this aligns very nicely with the 50% feeble retracement level, right, as our pivot point. H4, you can look at it. Yep, you can see how price was consolidating here, right? So it could act as a resistance point, all right, because it was once hovering as a support level, right? If you go to H4, you can see that it was hovering this around this level as a support, and then after that it actually broke through, right? So it could act as a resistance point. All right. Okay, this one, yeah, let's see. Okay, we have a nice level 61.8 and 38.2, 61.8 and 38.2. Okay, this level, yeah, so we have extra feeble confluence by drawing from this swing high as well, right? Previously we've drawn from this swing high, but we have also drawn from this swing high for extra confluence, right? So if you were to take a sell, right, you are targeting these lows over here, right? It'll definitely be a swing trade, right? Because you will have to swing in the overall direction, right? I believe for US 30, once it has broken this daily structure, these two lows, right, it will tend to be bearish afterwards, either at this pivot point or if not at this first resistance level. So you will have to be careful when looking at these charts. All right. Okay, let's go through S&P 500 and then it will be our last pair for the day. All right. Yeah. So far, oh, S&P 500 is already reacting to this level right here. Okay, S&P 500. Okay, S&P 500 is already reacting to this level, I would say 50%. Okay, for S&P 500 is pretty risky, right? Because it might actually go past your pivot point, retest, and head towards your first resistance level. So I would say be careful with S&P 500. Even though it's good, right? This shows that it's market recovery, right? For those that invest in stocks, right? But if you are day trading S&P 500, right? Be careful of this pivot point, right? If it actually closes above this pivot point like this, right, with a bullish candle, alright, then it will most likely head towards this first resistance level, right? So if you would like to sell at this pivot point, make sure that the next H4 candle, right, you can see right here, H4 candle has to close below these highs, right? Then you will look for sales. All right, let's see, this low, this high, this low. Oh, it actually aligns very nicely. Wait, let me see. From this swing high to this swing low, 38, 50. Yeah, I would say this is a good resistance level. Yeah, because we have extra Fibo confluence right at this level, 38.2% Fibo retracement level, as well as 61.8% Fibo projection level. All right, so this will be a pretty good trade, I would say, to trade here. All right. Okay. All right. So yes, we have covered crypto, we have covered all the majors, we have covered commodities, and we have also covered indices. Oh wait, GBP, JPY. Oh yes, wanted to share with you guys the last trade, which is GBP, JPY. Okay, so for GBP, JPY, oh, it has already reacted off. Yeah, because this level, if you look at H4, right, H4 is a very nice opportunity for buys, right? But price, yeah, let's see if price will actually come back down to this pivot point, right? Because I believe that these two equal lows will definitely be taken out sooner or later, right? Once these lows are taken out, the next level that we want to look at for buys would be this pivot point. Okay, because it aligns very nicely with the 50% Fibo retracement level, as well as once liquidity is taken out, the next level that we'll look at is this area. Okay, this is on H4, but on daily, of course, it might look a bit off, right? But based off market structure, daily we are bullish. Okay, so let's see if we will actually bounce off from here. All right. Right, if price actually comes back down, provided price comes back down, then we can take a buy here, right? Then if you want to take a buy, right, you're getting a good price right about here, stop loss placed below this low. Yeah, we will get a target this highs, 1:3 risk to reward ratio. That's why I would tend to take this trade. If not, I would not even take this trade at all. Okay, so that's all from me to you guys. All right, sorry for the delay. All right, I've covered everything that we should have covered for the week ahead, and this should be sufficient enough for the week, for enough setups. This should be sufficient setups for the week ahead. All right, so thank you guys for joining into today's pre-market analysis. I hope to see you guys again um next week. All right, rest assured there won't be any technical difficulties, right, as I fixed the issue already. All right, thank you guys for joining in. Please stay safe and trade safe. All right, take care, and I shall see you guys again next week. Bye bye.